Good morning, students. So, today we are going to discuss a very important topic, adsorption isotherms and adsorption isobars. Okay, and then we will discuss about the applications of adsorption. Okay, now first of all, let us discuss adsorption isotherm. So, what do we mean by adsorption isotherm? By adsorption isotherm, we mean a plot between a graph between x by m and p. Okay, now what do we mean by this? What is x by m? X by m is called extent of adsorption. See, x by m means extent of adsorption and p is pressure. Okay, so x here means amount of adsorbate and m means amount of adsorbent. Okay, so x is amount of adsorbate and m is amount of adsorbent, and x by m gives us the value of extent of adsorption. So what is Freundlich adsorption isotherm? Freundlich is the name of scientist who gave this adsorption isotherm, and what he did, he plotted a graph between extent of adsorption and pressure by taking temperature as constant. So he got a curve sort of thing he got, and then what he did, he divided the curve in three parts. One at very low pressure. Now see, from here to here if we see, then it is a straight line. Then at very high pressure if we see the thing, this is also a straight line. So one part is this much at low pressure, another part is at very high pressure, and at the intermediate value when pressure is neither very low nor very high, then he got a curve. Okay, so he divided the graph into three categories, and on the basis of that he gave an expression. That expression is known as Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Okay, now from this graph, what was the first observation? When we talk about low pressure, then we get almost straight line. There is a straight line, so it means x by m is directly proportional to p. Okay, or we can say that extent of adsorption depends on first power of p. Okay, now if we talk about high pressure, then at high pressure what happens? Again there is a straight line, so it means there is a straight line, but this straight line is parallel to x-axis. Parallel to x-axis means the value at y-axis does not change. It means x by m remains constant. Okay, so at high pressure what we can say? We can say x by m is equal to constant. Now when we have written x by m is equal to constant, then we can write it like this: p raised to power 0. P raised to power 0 means 1. Okay, so it means x by m is proportional to 0 power of p. Okay, now what we did till now, that at a very low pressure there is variation of x by m to the first power of p, and at very high pressure there is variation of extent of adsorption to the 0 power of p. It means if we talk about intermediate value of pressure, then our x by m must vary between 0 and 1, between 1 and 0. So between 1 and 0, what is the number? It is a fraction. So what he said, that over an intermediate range of pressure, x by m must be proportional to 1 by nth power of p, where n is greater than 1. Okay, so it means it depends on fractional power of pressure. So this equation which we are able to see now, x by m is equal to k p raised to power 1 by n. It is the Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Okay, so this is the equation. Now let us give it equation number 1. Now here x is the extent, the mass of adsorbate. So what is adsorbate in this time? In this case, x is the mass of gas adsorbed. Okay, on the mass m, and what is m? M is the mass of adsorbent. Okay, now pressure values P, K is a constant, N is a constant. Okay, now if we take logarithm of equation number 1, then we will get this log x by m is equal to log k plus 1 by n times log p. Now what does it mean? It means that if we compare this equation with equation of straight line is y is equal to mx plus c. Okay, then we have to plot log x by m on y-axis and log p on x-axis. Then 1 by n will be the slope and log k will be the intercept. Okay, so what do we mean? That if we compare this equation with equation of straight line, where we take log p on x-axis, log x by m on y-axis, then 1 by n becomes the slope of line and that becomes log k. So when we do so, then we can verify our Freundlich adsorption isotherm equation. Okay, whether it is correct or not. Okay, so validity of Freundlich adsorption isotherm can be verified by plotting log x by m on y-axis and log p on x-axis. If it comes out to be a straight line, then it is valid. Okay, now see here, these are different plots of extent of adsorption and pressure at different temperatures. So we can see with the increase in temperature, we can see that our plot is coming down and down, means extent of adsorption is becoming low and low. Okay, so from this diagram we can remember that with the increase in temperature, this adsorption decreases, adsorption of gas on certain metal decreases. Okay, now see, if we plot the graph which we told just now, that we have taken log x by m on y-axis and log p on x-axis, then we are getting this straight line, and whatever is the slope for this, that value is equal to 1 by n, and whatever intercept we are getting, that value is equal to log k. Now see, this is 1 by n. The factor 1 by n can have values between 0 and 1. Okay, so from probability is that it will be from 0.1 to 0.5. Okay, so this equation for which we have plotted this graph, it holds good for a limited range of pressure. Okay, but still it is there that log x by m versus log p graph is a straight line having slope 1 by n and intercept log k. Okay, now let us see whether in solutions also adsorption occurs or no. So the answer is adsorption we can see in case of solutions also. Now let us understand how it is. Suppose we have taken a solution of acetic acid. Now acetic acid solution is made in water. So there is acetic acid as solute and water is as solvent. Now if we take charcoal and we put it in this, then what happens? Charcoal absorbs, it will adsorb the acid. Okay, and then if we will see the concentration of the acid, then its concentration will decrease. So where the other acid has gone, it has been adsorbed on the charcoal. Okay, similarly the litmus solution, when we shake it with charcoal, then it becomes colorless. Why? Because that particular substance which is causing color, that gets adsorbed. Okay, so because of that it happens. Now it means in solution also adsorption occurs. Okay, now let us discuss, okay, now let us discuss adsorption isobar before, and that's equation which is valid for solutions. We discussed adsorption isotherm. Similarly, there is adsorption isobar. Now here what is to be done? Here also there is a graph between extent of adsorption and temperature. This extent of adsorption and temperature graph is different for different types of adsorptions. For physisorption, it is a curve. This is a curve. And for chemisorption, it is increasing first, reaching a maximum value, and then again it starts decreasing. Okay, so for physical adsorption we will say that if there is physical adsorption, then extent of adsorption it decreases with the increase in temperature. But if it is chemisorption, then in the beginning it needs some temperature so that there is formation of bond. So it needs some temperature, so it increases in the beginning, but once the bonds are formed, then it reaches to the maximum value, and then if we further increase the temperature, then those bonds will break, so it will again start decreasing. So we can say that adsorption isobar is the curve between extent of adsorption and temperature when pressure is kept constant. Okay, for physisorption it is a curve which shows the decrease in extent of adsorption with temperature, and for chemisorption it is a curve which shows the increase in extent of adsorption with temperature, then it reaches the maximum value, and then again it starts decreasing. Okay, now again let us come to solution, that how adsorption in case of solution takes place. So what are all things, just like we discussed the example where we made charcoal to be there in the acetic acid solution, and what charcoal did, it absorbed the acetic acid from the solution and decreased the concentration. Okay, so in by observing those types of adsorptions, what all we came to know, that we are going to discuss over here. Now very first thing, the extent of adsorption decreases with increase in temperature. Okay, this is for what we are talking about, adsorption from solution phase. Okay, second thing, extent of adsorption increases with an increase of surface area of the adsorbent. Now see, more will be the surface area, more molecules will get attached, so extent of adsorption will increase. Okay, now it depends on the concentration of the solution. If concentration of solution is more, then more is the availability of molecules which can get adsorbed, so this value will also increase. Okay, the extent of adsorption depends on the nature of adsorbent and the adsorbate. Okay, so what is the nature, that will decide how much adsorption will take place. Okay, now just like we discussed Freundlich adsorption isotherm, which was x by m is equal to k p raised to power 1 by n, here it is like x by m is equal to k c raised to power 1 by n. Here what is c? C is the equilibrium concentration, that is when adsorption is complete, that time what is the concentration, that is represented by c, and 1 by n again it is a fractional value, n is greater than 1. Okay, now now let us discuss the applications of adsorption. Now adsorption finds use in so many places. Very first, production of high vacuum. If we want to produce high vacuum, then we will put charcoal, it will absorb last traces of air also, and then it will create high value of vacuum. Similarly, in gas masks we use it. Okay, in gas masks there is activated charcoal. Okay, This is very useful in absorbing those gases which are poisonous in nature. So in coal mines such masks are used. Okay. Then control of humidity. Now we know that silica gel and aluminum gel, they are very good adsorbents, so they absorb humidity, so they are also used. Now removal of coloring matter from solution. Okay, now see, in sugar industry what we use this sugar, that particular charcoal. Okay, it is called bone charcoal that is used, which has the property to decolorize sugar. Okay, so this is the one of the use. Now in curing diseases, there are few drugs which are used to kill germs. How they are used? They, what they do, they adsorb on them, on those particular germs. So there also adsorption process is useful, or it is used. Now heterogeneous catalysis. In case of heterogeneous, this we are going to discuss next in the next session. Catalysis is of two types, homogeneous and heterogeneous. Heterogeneous means when all the reactants and products, when all the reactants and our catalyst, they are not in the same phase. Okay, then such catalysis is called heterogeneous catalysis. So suppose we are taking some gases and one solid catalyst is used for their reaction, then that solid catalyst, that will absorb those gases and will help in the formation of products. Okay, now in contact process, when we manufacture sulfuric acid is H2SO4. When we manufacture sulfuric acid, then we use finely divided nickel. Okay, so in case of this, now finally divided nickel is used in the hydrogenation of oil, that formation of vanaspati ghee which we have done in 11th standard. So there we use nickel. But in ammonia, this Haber's process where we manufacture ammonia, and in contact process where we manufacture sulfuric acid, there in both the cases what we use some catalyst. It is in solid state, finely divided in solid state, which absorbs the contents and allows them to react. Okay, now if we want to separate inert gases, then since gases have difference in their adsorption capacity, so we can separate those gases on the basis of their difference in adsorption. Okay, by the use of charcoal. So there also it is useful. Now few more examples. Froth flotation process. Now see, froth means fog. It is like a fog. See, this apparatus is for froth flotation process. Here what we do, we take our ore in the powder form. Okay, and then we mix it with water and some cheap oil like pine oil, and then what we do, we supply air at very high pressure. Because of that, what happens, there is formation of froth. Froth is like fog. So what happens, that froth, that helps in the adsorption of ore particles, and with the froth those ore particles get adsorbed and they rise up, and then they are collected in another beaker. Okay, so in another container all the ore gets concentrated. So in that process also what we are using, adsorption phenomena is getting used. Okay, now similarly adsorption indicators. Now see, some compounds just like silver halides, they have the property of adsorbing some dyes. Okay, they can absorb dyes like eosin, fluorescein, etc. And we know that indicators are those substances which give different colors in different mediums. So they will also give some characteristic color at the end point. Okay. Now see chromatography, which you have discussed in lower classes. In 12th standard also there is practical of chromatography. So for chromatographic analysis, the phenomena which is used is adsorption. Okay, so there are so many uses of adsorption. We can see adsorption phenomena in our daily life in so many examples. So here in this lecture, what we have done, we have discussed adsorption isotherm, adsorption isobar, Freundlich adsorption isotherm, then the applications of adsorption. So on the basis of these things, you have to solve these home assignments. Okay, thank you.